The stream is live.
Good day. Live stream.
It coming, it's coming at you live right now. This crazy news broadcast from the other side of the universe that is already inside you, that is in fact right there.
Yes,
The other
here
side
and
of the universe,
everywhere.
but right here, right now.
Pretty much. That's about it. We're pretty much on both different sides of Mexico too within that universe. Um,
Yeah.
been a lot changed in my realm. Been a lot changed in your realm.
Mm.
Yeah, different. Another beautiful day in the jungle here. Getting close to rainy season. It's been raining a few nights. Rainy season's like months. It'll be like till December.
Mm.
Um, we're just kind of drying some cacao and harvesting cacao, and bananas are always flowing.
Mm. Rainy season is here in full swing. It's raining every day at the moment.
Wow.
Yes, there's been some flooding in the cities and around, but generally it's quite smooth. It's quite relaxed. I enjoy it. I enjoy the rain. I enjoy the thunderstorms. It's now butterfly season for us.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Butterflies are out everywhere. Any butterflies.
Yeah, same here. There's butterflies everywhere. They're so amazing.
Mm. Here, the butterflies are coming generally after the rain. You know, you see
Yeah.
a lot more after during the end of the rain. Now it's changing. The season is changing. It's starting to cool down a bit. The rains are getting a little bit less intense, and I can just generally feel inside me the energy is getting is kind of changing. It's coming into a new movement now. The end of the year here is a little different from the end of the year there. Like you say, you are on the other side. You are closer. You are far more south than I am. Mm.
Yeah, I think so. Quite a bit. I think we're about, I don't know, maybe he said an hour to Guatemala, but that doesn't seem right. Maybe it was every hour the bus goes to Guatemala. I don't know.
No, I think you're about if you're in Palenque, it's going to take you like there's a place I can't remember what it's called. There's so many border crossings where you are to get into Guatemala.
Yeah.
I crossed a few of them, and I think from Palenque you can roughly get there in an hour and a half, and you can cross over on the side of Tikal.
Wow. Yeah, we have one of the guardians here. He just left to go the other day so that he could renew his visa. He had to go out of the country, take a bus to Guatemala for a few days, and then come back.
Yeah, just go to Guatemala.
Yeah.
Go. Yes.
Then he gets another 160 days.
Yes.
Got to play that stupid system. So
Yes. I know. I know. It's well. There's games. There's existing games. We try to create new games.
yeah,
We're
exactly.
always working on the new games. We want the new games. But while we're here, we have to somehow navigate. Um, this thing what we've come into this game, this this concept. That everybody's constantly constantly changing. Everybody's constantly being a part of, but constantly changing it. I wonder if we could talk today. Like I said, one of the things, like for me, was about panic. You know,
Yeah.
is this an interesting subject we can talk about?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Because well, I can say my own life from this morning is straight up experience that well, I got out of bed and I felt kind of quite calm in myself. I have a little practice where I just keep I have a question in my head. I keep repeating the question until it dissipates, until I find a solution for it. This can go on for days and days.
Yeah.
And when I remember this, like it come like a mantra inside my head. Whenever I remember it, it really centers me and helps me to calm myself down, you know. It's constantly being refined inside my mind, you know, constantly being I have to tweak it, you know, to see whether it's right or not, you know. The mantra that
Yeah.
I was working on these last days was, what do I do next? So it's like, what do I do next? 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 And this is going on in the back of my head like constantly. What do I do next? What do I do next? What do I do next? But it's not stressful. It's very relaxing. And it kind of flows in and out of many different kind of psychic streams, you know. Um, it shows certain things and then they disappear, like the nature of life. But you're with moving with this question going round, what is next, what is next, what is next, it just constantly brings me back to my question, you know. Now I realized in the question a few days ago, I was like no, it's not what is next, it's like what is now. And then I changed it to what is now, and then I changed what is now, what is now.
Wow.
So I have to refine it, so I tweak it.
Yeah.
And then I don't need what is now. I just need now. So now.
Yes.
Now.
B.
Yes, and it can also be also further tweaks and going through. So this is what I was with this morning. I was still with this, you know, and I felt very relaxed. And I woke up and I'm trying to retrace my things. I think I started to get messages on the phone. First thing I did, I picked up, I read a message, you know. If somebody sent me a lot, it was, I had my workshop yesterday. I reopened the doll workshop. It was really good. We made the dolls. We had a beautiful day, and it just super powerful magic came from it.
Cool.
And she sent me all the photos. One of the girls in the workshop, she sent me all the photos. And I instantly felt that I needed to edit all these photos and to start to mess around with them. Well, this led me on a whole journey of downloading applications, doing videos, everything. And eventually, like, I didn't get anywhere, man. I was so tired. I got mixed up with all this stuff, you know? So it really, and I forgot to eat. That was the other thing I was saying. I was like, I felt hungry, but but in this process, I was like actually burning a lot of food away, burning a lot of energy, mental energy in this. It was like a kind of panic, you know?
Yeah.
So that was this happens in different areas of life, you know. It's being overtaken by attention, being overcome by attention and losing track of things, losing track of what is good for you, losing track of your balance.
Wow.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm just soaking it all in, clearing my throat.
Yes. So I think that in life, there are certain tensions that are there for a long time. They remain within us. They embed themselves in certain parts of the body, embed themselves in certain parts of our minds, in different levels of our different levels of different dimensions of the human experience. They manifest in many strange ways,
Yeah, for sure.
The way to know that it's like it's going in that direction is when you have like a warning bell going off inside you saying like, hey, that's not right. But it takes some time and some reflection. Like when something happened like this, I'd give it some reflection, say like, really retrace my steps, find out what happened here, some things I neglected to do, which were really important for me to get up slowly, to write, to stretch, to do all these things processing in the morning, which are really helpful for me. Everybody has their own things which they which help them, which guide them, which are like the tools or the gifts in life which they've discovered, and they help to alleviate stress and alleviate tensions and kind of reduce the impact of panic when it grows upon you. What do you think about that? What do you think about panic in your life?
Yeah, I think it's very important to have the tools. I picked up a lot of tools along my way. I used to have a lot more panic attacks back in the day. Really been going through that kind of training and that kind of acceptance, I think is what I've had the most. The panic attack would be like the mosquito. You hear the buzz, it's going to bite you, it's going to hurt, it's going to give you a bump for days, and you want to just keep batting it away and batting it away and batting it away, and every time you hear it, you're like, and it's just like you just don't want it to get you, and you start like getting into this panic of like, the mosquito is going to get me. And man, I've been having nothing but mosquito training in my days. It seems like since we lived in Mexico before, I was able to get away from mosquitoes a lot when we had my RV. And then when we were in our little apartment there, we were able to get away from the mosquitoes, and it was nice. I missed out a lot though, because I would choose to be in my RV rather than go out into the retreat center, where I could be sitting and meditating at the temple, but I'd definitely be getting bitten by lots of mosquitoes. Or I could just sit and meditate in my RV and not have any mosquitoes. So, the bother of the mosquitoes kept me away from doing things. And here, the last place was in their house, and there was mosquitoes outside, and there was no getting away from the mosquitoes. So I've been getting a whole nother level of acceptance and learning to appreciate the mosquitoes on a different level, and just accepting that that's what it is. Like, I am going to get, now here in the jungle, I am going to get bit by mosquitoes maybe 10 times today, at least.
That's an underestimate.
Yeah, I can't, I just stopped counting or even paying attention anymore. I stopped fighting them or squishing them or avoiding them, because then I'm just in a full state of panic all the time. And so just accepting it, and just accepting the mosquitoes and the ants too. The ants are crawling. Like today, usually anytime someone's crawling on me, I'd bat it off. But today the ants were just crawling on me, and sick of batting them off. And this time they weren't the biting fire ants. So I just knew that there was 20 ants maybe on me. And, you know, I just continued on, just keeping my cool. And I would say it's been a lifelong practice, leading me up for this moment, leading me up to be here now. And here I am, here now. And it's beautiful and amazing. It's the most beautiful place I've ever lived, and it's super amazing and super abundant. And that's part of what I have to give away, is that comfort and that wanting to control my environment, that wanting to fight the environment. I have to release all of that and let that go and not worry about it anymore. And it's really great. I'm really enjoying it. I really think I'm getting really far with it. And there's lots of many different tools that I've used along the way, but that's just the example of the mosquito and the ant for today.
Yes, I like the metaphor, although it's not a metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. It's the parable that's not a parable. It's the true, real, raw. It's the true, real, raw example.
It's a raw deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let it crawl all over you. The sense of discomfort, but you need a certain amount of kind of being aware of that this situation is going to occur, because if you surprise yourself when it happens. You get excited, and when you get excited you lose your balance, and when you lose your balance there's an expression, I'm going to use it. You're anybody's bitch, you know. You're the bitch of anything. Just to use this term, and not to be crude, but just to hit sharply on the point that anything you get carried away by this, like you said, maybe it's not even the buzz of a mosquito, maybe it's just a leaf in the wind at the side of you, but you're no control when you're in a panic. And
yeah,
to be aware and to like really love yourself enough to say, you know what, you're panicking right now.
yeah,
You know, like you're panicking right now. You're stepping out of it, you know. You create a little bit of just that first little bit of distance, that first recognition. You tell yourself, like, are you panicking right now? Maybe
yeah. And I've learned once you identify it like that, it's very powerful. Like that's one of the probably step one, right? Like, hey, I'm in a panic right now. I'm panicking. Step two would be like, just breathe. Cause because a lot of people, they hold their breath when they start panicking, and that doesn't help at all. Now it starts getting your heart racing even more. It's called fight or flight. Our body's made that way supposedly since the caveman days, that when there's a tiger, the blood goes to the body. It either goes to the arms or the legs, kind of thing. It goes, are we gonna fight or are we gonna run? And so the body has that automatic fear response. But nowadays in society and in the world, there's not a tiger chasing you. You know, here there could be a jaguar or something. I'm in the jungle of Palenque, so there's howler monkeys, but they haven't messed with me. And somewhere there's supposed to be an alligator in the ponds. I haven't seen him yet. But the jaguar, you know, fight or flight, like you see that jaguar coming up on you, and your body sees it and is, okay, you're either going to fight this or you're going to run. And it starts preparing the body. It's preparing the body for a flight. It's a natural response. But, you know, for some people, it may be like their bills. It may be like the TV. For me, it could have been the mosquitoes that day. And so that's called the fight or flight response. And one of the best tools I found to clear that, besides and along with the breath, is called the triple warmer. You put your fingers on your temples and you go in a circular motion, and then you drag the energy behind your ears, over your ears, back behind your ears, then down your neck, and then off your shoulders and flick. So that 3 times is the triple warmer. You're taking that fire.
Temples 3 times?
Yeah, around the temples 3 times, and then off the shoulders 3 times. Like you're just going around, like gathering up the energy, and you're bringing it down, back here, down, and then off with a flick. And you want to do it like 3 times. And that's called the triple warmer. And that's a really good one to calm the flight or flight and calm you down. But you still gotta.
Okay, I like it already. I like it already.
Did you feel a difference?
Yeah, certainly there is some very strong energy points around here, and you can feel the tense areas. It crosses all the areas of the tension. Is here in the eyes, the back of the ears, especially here in the neck.
Yeah, where you get down right there below the lobes where the neck starts. And then down and off your shoulders. Yeah, I learned that one 10 years ago or so, and I share it a lot. But yeah, so it's the mind that does it, but the body's doing it too. The mind is telling the body. It's like the snake in the rope thing. Like, there's people that have died of a heart attack because of a rope, thinking it was a snake.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of it has to do with me. I have to be very careful with my use of technology and things, and about how much this is in my life. Like I said, it triggers other panic patterns, because everything on the internet is, yeah, let's go now. Come on, 20% off. Yeah, come on, this post. Yeah, come on. You want this photo or this and this effect or this? And it totally overwhelms me.
Yeah.
You know, and causes artificial stress. It stimulates that flight or fight in a very kind of, not so much like, oh shit, there's a fucking tiger. That's really like, oh, but these are like little, but constant, you know, constantly the phone going off, constantly getting a message, constantly getting an email, constantly you want to use an application, they've got 50% off, upgrade now, constantly, you know. It's just a constant kind of, and some people maybe have a lot more resilience to this than I do. I think I am the least resilient person in this respect. If I turn on the computer and I'm not 100% sure of what I'm doing and what I want to do and where I'm going with the things, then I have a very high chance. I have a very high chance of entering the labyrinth and becoming a minotaur, you know?
Wow.
And it affects me greatly. And when I'm in this state, it's generally quite a high, well, not say high, but it's like a kind of a resonant panic, you know what I mean? That is not at all clear of what it's doing. And if you can imagine all the people before Theseus, when he got in the labyrinth, he knew what he was doing. He took the string with him, and he entered the labyrinth, laying the string out. He got in there, he killed the Minotaur, and then he followed the string to come back out again. He's the intelligent person, you know. But everybody before that, they must have just been running around like me on the internet, you know. And I'm trying to learn this. People have different triggers in their life, different things, you know, different things that cause them panic. Might be for somebody to get in a car, you know, or going to the doctor or the dentist, you know. It can be many things, you know.
I understand. Yeah.
I think I'm very affected by light and sound and how they're used in very various ways, you know. I've always had it. I remember when I was younger, I had a very strong gambling addiction, you know.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't really.
And a lot of this was to do with.
Yeah.
With the way that they use lights and sounds and shapes in casinos, in different gambling situations. It's a lot like social media, you know. You roll the reels, you're coming in with the things, you know.
Well, they figured us out a long time ago. They figured out how the human mind works, how the human body works a long time ago. And so they can get all those casinos have those exact sounds that trigger in you what would get you to spend more money or get you excited. The little dopamine feed where you need a little bit more dopamine, and the internet too. All those little different websites and different apps and stuff, they know exactly how to get you watching their stuff and get you looking for more and get you going, get you with just enough to get you like wanting to see more, get you just enough to like not wanting you to put it down, you know. It's like it's a crazy drug that they've been tweaking us with because they know how to do it with the lights and the sounds and the action.
Yes. And I think maybe that comes to how to fortify yourself against these things. Maybe some of these tools are useful to us, but there's parts of it which are not at all healthy for us. Do we just quit using it altogether? I don't know. I don't know whether that's the answer. I think in order to kill the Minotaur, you have to go into the labyrinth. That's the whole point, you know?
Yeah.
You just have to take the ball of string with you.
Yeah. I think that's really good. Like the TikTok thing, you could end up, next thing you know, you've been on it for 4 hours. But if you had a little string to get you out at an hour, then you wouldn't be the 3 hours. You had to make a lighter out of some jungle parts or something crazy like that, you know, or how to fix something or make something from the junk you have lying around. All of a sudden you're like, yeah, that's it. And then it makes the whole 4 hours worth it because you saw that one video. Now you learned something on a whole nother level that you would have never learned. But it took you some bullshit you had to dig through the turd to find the gold.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is, even though like all this stuff, maybe the panic is usually when you're breaking through some boundary. You know, I don't think these things occur outside of nature. They're not a part, they're not separate from the entirety, you know. So all of this has its purpose, you know.
Yeah.
They're just monsters that are coming out that make the journey into the forest a lot more dramatic and interesting, you know.
Yeah. Makes it a little more exciting too. Makes life a little more fun in a way.
Yes, but the trick is with the panic thing is this is not. I don't think it's healthy to be in a sustained state of panic. Like you can have a shock of like a wake up call, like you said, a moment like, hey, this is happening, you know, like a boom. A very swift return to reality, but a kind of a droning panic is not is not. If you mention to anybody on the long list of kind of emotional experiences that you would like, I think a droning panic is way down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me, that is one that is kind of, it recurs quite a lot.
I would be floating in the ocean down there in Bucerias, and I was thinking about it so many times about getting through that panic and just see what it would be like to just take a big breath of that water in, just to go under the water and see what happens. Maybe it's not happen what we're told happens. Who knows? Maybe I'd start breathing underwater. But or it could turn into the panic of drowning, and so I didn't put myself there to drown.
Yeah. Yes. But I think what you say is right. You know, the people who work in human manipulation, who are experts in human manipulation, have a very long experience with this. It's very scientific.
Yeah.
It's very easily reproducible. You know, I'm learning through geometry, working with geometry, how certain shapes can have different effects on us. For example, the way that I am on the screen this way, yeah, this also might cause people to have a hernia because I'm like dividing the screen in the middle. I'm half of my head missing, you know, like certain proportions have certain effects on us. Certain shapes have certain effects on us, the relationships between those shapes, you know. I know this for a long time through studying Chinese. Was one of the things that really brought this to the forefront in the language, you know. I just think it's I know the screen is all messed up. I have trying to figure.
Yeah, lift it up a little bit. Lift up the bottom of your laptop.
Like this?
Yeah, just like that a little bit. Put a pin under it or something. I understand. Yeah. Sometimes, like, I think that kind of can draw people too. Like, maybe if on TikTok I wrote out some letters on the screen that didn't make sense over here and over here and over here, but they kind of look like they made sense, you know, but then you try to read them to see what the heck the sense I'm trying to make, it would actually draw people in. Other words, if I put words that says like thanks love, they're like, oh, and then they skip it. But if they're like, what the heck does that say? Then they're actually spending time on the video.
Yes, this
And
is
people
the
go for what they like to see too. And if they see videos, the longer they see the video, the more they send videos like that.
yes, but the thing is, because somebody is watching a video doesn't mean that they like it.
Yeah.
And
It's
just
crap.
because somebody click like doesn't mean that it's a video of any quality, you
Yeah,
know.
that's for sure.
And like I said, these things these certain ways of controlling and manipulating human behavior have given a lot of skewed results, you know.
Yep.
People spend a lot more time on spending, like, dedicating a lot more time to being on the internet, you know. And that doesn't mean that the internet is useful for people, all those people, you know. A great deal of that time is people, but like I can only say for myself, but sometimes you run away into the internet. It's easily to just run and just run and 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 run, you know, and keep running. There's no end to it. And that's a great way to get rid of all your energy. That's a great way to leave yourself feeling very depleted at the end of it. And I think that's when the question comes, you know. At the height of it, you're getting a hit of all these different hormones, you know, it's activating all these different hormone centers, you know. And I don't think also it's not just through the shapes and the proportions of things, but the colors and the sounds, and these things can be subliminally implanted, you know, into like, if you're on a color now, I see you in a certain color, but it can also be projected through that other colors, which, although I don't see consciously, they're still being projected to me and projecting information to me.
Yeah.
But it's
Yep.
a very sensible instrument, you know, and always picking up frequencies along a whole great bandwidth, a prism of different experiences. And only a small portion of those do we consciously process.
Yeah, it's quite amazing how the body works and how we work. I've seen a lot of studies on a lot of that. And yeah, that information's been out there for a long time, and I think it really is used against us. And I think they make music that way, and the artists make the music that way, and then they put those videos up, and then everybody's using that same sound and that same track, and it's made to stimulate certain things in us. There was I really was, when I was watching Netflix movies and videos, I know that the Netflix really had it down of stimulating emotions and stirring up people's anxieties and their emotions through the movies. And there was one point I was watching a movie and I wasn't emotionally affected, but my heart was beating out of my chest. It was racing out of my chest because the theme, the sound, the action, the lights, all of it together, like my heart was bumping out of my chest. I thought I was going to have a heart attack or something, all from just a movie. And I think that they make it like that on purpose.
Yeah, I think maybe, I mean, if you're going to make a movie and you want people to be emotionally affected and to feel by it, then obviously you're doing a good job to do something like that. I think to present it straightforwardly And like, I think of Werner Herzog. He's a really good movie director for this, you know. Films like Aguirre, Wrath of God, and Fitzcarraldo, where he's like, all the movie is done in live, and it's all, every stunt, every model is in real. So if there's people sailing lopsided with a broken ship down the Amazon rapids, then it's no joke. This ain't no CGI. He was doing it in the 70s, you know.
Oh wow,
So
yeah.
like, these are really my favorite films because they create these emotions in me. Like, wow, you know, this is so alive, so, and I feel it. But the 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 insidious part of it is where it's kind of plugged in underneath, you know. And where it's not directed towards your experience, it's directed to getting something out of you, to keeping you using. When I watch a Werner Herzog film, I'm very satisfied at the end of it. I don't really want to watch another Werner Herzog film for a while because it affected me so strongly, and I'm very happy, you know, content with what I saw,
Wow.
the film. But that's not the same with the other stuff. They, like you said, they produce certain effects in you that are addictive, you know.
Yeah, I think they do that definitely on purpose, and the TV shows too. I noticed were that way, where the TV show would be like getting you to want to watch it. There'd be commercials. So, you know, the whole reason for the show is for the commercials, and it builds you up, builds you up, builds you up, and right before the commercial, it leaves you hanging. So that after the commercial, you stay because you want to see what happens right when it gets back from the commercial. Then you watch through the commercials, then you see what happened, and then it kind of then it leaves you hanging a little bit more, and then it starts building it back up again, just in time for another commercial, and then it kind of like lets it go, and then you're kind of like left with like nothing in a way, and then it starts building up again. Next episode.
Yeah.
A tease. It's just a stupid tease, and it's so lame.
It's very lame. It's very lame. But in actual fact, like for me, what is important, like I feel like I have to use the internet for my work, you know, and this is stopping me from. It's taking a lot of energy from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Like what
I have some photographs or something. I want to edit the photographs. I just want to edit these photographs, you know? So that would be like Theseus entering the maze. I'm just going to edit these photographs. And once the photographs are edited, I'm done. So I have my little string and I go in there. And if I can get in there and I just edit the photograph and then I come back out again, then it's all right, you know? But if I start to apply effects and I start to look at different trimming, and what do I want to trim it at? Do I want to trim it at 9:16, which is a story? Or do I want to trim it at 1:1, which is a post? Or do I want to trim it at 3:4, which is my blog? So all these different things require different, you know, different sizes. And each one of those has to be, you know, this thing. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I understand. I've run into things like that too, and what always works good for me is to just, you know, like do something and walk away and go do something completely different, and then come back and go do some,
and then walk away and then do something completely different. Not getting stuck
think-
having that rope, right?
I think that's good advice.
Yeah, and then there's other things to do though. Like, you know, it's good to have a bunch of different projects. It's good to have different things to do. So I'll do that a lot where, you know, I'll start a project and like, okay, well, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this part of it. I'm usually brainstorming on a few projects before I even start them. So I've been looking at this wind chime that's broken. And before I found the broken wind chime, I found a wind chime piece and I didn't know what it was for. So I set it on the shelf back there. And then now the wind chime's over there. And I was like, oh, that's where that piece goes. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm fixing that. So I'm still fixing that, even though it's broken and just hanging there.
Yeah.
Still fixing it in my mind. It's like, okay, well, the string's broke, so I need to tie it back on, but I can't tie it back on with the same string, so I need some string. Okay, there's some string there. Now I need a stool. So I'm not getting into that project until I can find something stable enough that lets me stand up high enough to tie a new piece of string on to retie on one of the broken pieces. So that's this project that's in my head. And so there's a missing step still. It's a step ladder actually. And so then I have my other thing. I had a pile over there that had my little bag that I found a broken shirt, and maybe it was a sweater or a bag, I don't know. And so I cut it all apart and just took the pocket to make a satchel out of it. And then I kind of set it down for a while and like, yeah, I still need a string. Then I was digging through my bag and I found an old piece that I had off of my pants. I had a pair of pants that fell apart and I saved the little belt piece. And those pants were the ones that I used the pockets that I added to my other bag that you saw. I added those pockets to that bag from those pants, and now I have the string from those pants to make the handle on this bag. So now I have a big bag with those pockets on it, and now I have this bag that I'm making with that handle on it. So it's pretty neat how that works together. And then I just kind of set it aside until I have all the pieces in my mind of how I'm going to do it. And so I multitask that way in my mind a lot and just go one step at a time and multitask in a way, you know, like I got a bunch of projects in my mind. Today I finished a little shelf over there that there was this little hole in the floor in a way, and we moved some things and then ended up putting this floor, and then I was waiting for just the right piece, and I've been, you know, eyeballing it and thinking about how I would do it. Then today I found some tools that I hadn't seen before, and I was like, oh. And then I found a piece of wood that would work, and then I found a measuring tape. And so that was all between a bunch of other projects of going around and doing other things. Was this one came together. So I found like multitasking and procrastination and being okay with that is a good flow for me. It's like my flow, and it's not really procrastination. It's just waiting for the right knowledge of how I'm going to do it the most efficient way, and making what am I going to need to make this come together. I'm not going to get everything out to start the project if I don't have a paintbrush.
No.
I'm not going to open the can and mask the tape and shake the paint and stir the paint and put the paint in the stirring tray and or whatever, you know, and getting everything ready if I don't have the paintbrush. So I put it all together in my mind first.
Yeah. And I do that when I usually, each of us had different ways, and these are coming back to those techniques that help us to to not get lost and to keep us focused on what we're doing. Like sometimes I do a small project, like put in something very simple. It's a meditative thing. It's like rosary beads, like putting beads on a string, or working with papier-mâché or something like this. Just something like that. And while you're doing that, these other things are going on inside your head and clearing up. Maybe just giving space to them, to let them open up, and to say, okay, I can't do this until I have this. Where do I find this? Okay, now I have this. And letting the thing, I think it's a time pressure that doesn't exist, which is created in the mind.
Yeah.
That say you have to get this done for a certain time, certain day, but actually no.
Here you have to get this done, and that's the anxiety that gets built up behind it. That's where doing comes along. That's where you're doing, and that's where people are doing and not just being. In being, you're just being, and things come together when they're meant to, how they're meant to. And when you're doing, okay, so when you're being, everything is left undone. When you're doing, there's more things undone. Or something like that. I forgot how the Tao says it. But like,
when you're everything left undone. When you are doing, there is
more to be undone. I'm not saying it properly, but it's like when you're doing, there's like always going to be more to do. There's always things that are undone because you're doing. And because when we are doing, there's more things to be done. But when we are just being, there's really nothing to be done because everything's done and everything's undone. We're just being.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain it without knowing the exact verse and how it says it. But like to me,
I think I get the gist of it.
That's how
Just the fact that you're never going to get an end to this stuff. And especially if you're stressed out, you're just going to go from one kind of stress, panic, to completely spent, completely, utterly fatigued. And then when you get your energy back again, do the same thing again. And it's a constant cycle of doing, expanding. Whereas if you are in your being and there is really nothing to be done, then you are quite open to all things. And maybe the most important things, they come to the surface. They rise like the cream from the milk,
Yeah, definitely. That's it. It's in the doing, you're making things be done, so you're making things be undone, so you're making more things to do in the act of doing. And so there will always be things undone for the doer. For the doer, there's always things that are not done.
Yeah.
But for the practice that I've been in, I'm just being. And in being, nothing is undone. Nothing is done. Nothing's undone, really. It just is. Everything is just being. And so I was being today, and I beamed that shelf into beingness. The shelf was a cutting board, and now it's a shelf. I guess I did that. I guess there was doing there, but I wasn't really doing. I was just being me being. I wasn't trying to get it done. I was just moving a step forward at time. It's the it's the Wu way. It's taking the action out of the action. Yeah, I had to hold on to that cutting board while I pulled the chop saw down into it. But it's the no action in that action was the being in the not doing.
Yeah, it's almost like you're not the agent of it.
Yeah.
You're observing that these familiar patterns which you've grown up with all your life, like your psychology, your physicality, your emotions, are involved with what you're doing, but they're not the creator. They're not the willful agent. They're not the driver of the car, you know. So naturally, there's going to come a certain disattachment from that. Very relaxing, very spacious, very kind of almost non-committal, almost blasé, but not, because you're so fully involved with it. It's like the thing, but it's with an attitude of like no thing, you know. It's not. It's you know.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing to get worked up about. It's very enjoyable from that perspective, from that depth of perception. But if you're really upfront in something and you got your head stuck in and everything's got to be done, oh, this done, this done, this done, this done, oh, this done, 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 done. This is not comfort. This is not related to any of those qualities, you know.
Yeah, then there's always more to do. There's always things to be done with that mindset, you know. In the just being, it's just a whole lot more simple. And I think it's really just looking at it differently, just using different words and just looking at it differently. You know, changing the words, the usage that you say, that doing. You just take out the word.
I changed a little bit what was happening since the last time I spoke. Maybe I'm reducing down on the dream writing now. I opened up that time in the morning, so I'm not writing in the morning. What my new process is to just write questions and answer the questions by the end of the day. Now, because I'm coming back, I used to do this. I did this a few years ago, and I also started it a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, and it was very well. It helped me a lot to clear up a lot of things, to get my mind straight, you know, and to answer very important questions to me. This is part of the mantra that I was talking about, you know, to just repeat these questions. And it's a habit that I'm forming again. So be careful in these gaps where the transition is from one way of life into another way of life, not to let yourself get lost, you know, and to keep focused on it. So I write these questions out in the morning, and that was one thing I didn't do this morning. I didn't write the questions down from the night. So I'd already begun in a sort of, not that I have to do this, but just that I wanted to explore this. And so like I said, it's not about answering the question. It's about asking. It's not about the answer. It's about asking the right question, you know. And about refining, and you talk about the words that you use and about how you frame certain things towards yourself. The the way that we ask the question, if a question is asked simply and honestly enough, then it is its own answer, you know. The question is its own answer. So I'm working on this right now, and like I said, it's a process. It's something that it's a constant exploration. It's something that requires attention to do, you know, to feel it's good for you. If you know something is good for you, then, I mean, really good for you, then you do more. You don't do more of it, but you do what is necessary for you to be well, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like it's in terms of that, if you really feel well when you're doing it, and it really calms you, and it really makes you feel centered, and it really aligns you, then you are aligned in being when you are doing it, you know. And it is not an action, because you are so like flowing with it, that you don't but again, you know, there is some certain sense of reflection that is needed in these things, where you're like, hey, I treat it like I try to treat it like, to get the distance away from these questions. That's where the mantra comes in, and that's why it can take a few days to answer a question. If it's a very profound question, I just leave it there, mantra in the back of the head all the time. Drop, 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 drop. And it goes on in its own way, you know, until it's complete. And I can't say that it answers the question. It's not like I have the answer, like, these words, or this is the explanation. No, it's just like a complete dissipating of the question. The question falls apart, you know. And I consider that a question answered.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I like how you're kind of asking the question without the answer being necessary, but more of just to ponder on the question. You're not doing a question. You're letting the question just be, and what arises arises.
Yeah, but I maintain focus on it as well, you know.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So that is something. It's funny we talk about this whole thing, and it made me realize now, it's like, hey, you know, I haven't asked my questions this morning, and I didn't process some of these things. It's really important for me, you know. So and it helped me to get in the morning, to get, like, you know, in the flow of things. When I write the question, I can just put it to one side. And get on with other things. But I didn't do this morning, so it's a lesson for me, you know. It's a lesson for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, that's good. Writing notes maybe to remind you, or set an alarm, or you don't want to have to be doing every day and just flow. And sometimes when it doesn't happen, it can help you remember to make it happen the next time. Or, you know, sometimes just I think mainly be gentle on yourself. Never like beat yourself up over like not asking the question today. You know, just learning from it, right?
For sure. And that's the treatment of the question. The kind of, it's in the technique, really, you know. It's just a repeating thing until it means nothing. The question disappears and it becomes a noise. Yeah. What do I do next? 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 What do I do
Yeah, the
Yeah.
what next, the 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 what next is
Next to the
a way
what,
that
next to
I've
the
lived
what,
my
next to the
life
what.
and always gone to that. That's usually what I'm already on to the next thing. Usually, I'm already thinking about the next thing. Well, and it's a loss of it's mindlessness. It's a loss of mindfulness, and it's important to get back to that mindfulness and be there and be here now.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's getting on a while of me being here online now, and I want to get back to just
Yeah.
being here now.
Yes. Yes, you get back to the jungle. I know it's you got to break the house. You got to break the internet connection. But anyway, I enjoyed this conversation because, like I said, things important. It's important we speak about important things. This was on my chest today, and I feel like I've come full circle. And I realize, hey, you know, come on, wake up, slap, slap. You know,
Awesome.
just let it just open the doors, let the wind blow through, and whatever sticks to the wall sticks to the wall.
Yeah, that's beautiful and amazing. That's awesome. I really appreciate our talks. It was really awesome and amazing, and I think it was very informative too for our listeners. And I think that it's a beautiful way and a beautiful day. And keep on doing your amazingness and keep on creating, right? And keep on being here now. We be we. We be we.
Oui. I love you, man.
We love you too.
I catch you next Wednesday, okay?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll talk to you a bit before then too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on, brother. Much love.
Right on, bro.
Thank you.
See you later.